Okay, we are back for part 2 of staining this. Now we are going to go ahead and stain our wood before we apply our stencils and our paint with our wording over top. So this will just be our stain. We want to get kind of a stain look, but I don't like this stain because I don't love the smell of it and I don't love that it takes so long to dry. So I've been doing this for a while where I just kind of add a finish to the wood where it looks a little bit like stain, but just not, I mean, it's as close as you can get with a paint, but I wanted to share it with you guys. So I went ahead and cut some little pieces, the end pieces off of our large board and brought those in. We're going to test our color on that and make sure that we get it right so we like it before we do all the boards like that. If you guys didn't catch the first video, what I did was we cut a bunch of pieces of 1x12 to 16-inch lengths, and we're going to stain that. We cut them, we sanded them with our orbital sander to smooth the edges, and now we're going to go ahead and stain them. So what I did was I just found an old paint that I don't love the color of anymore, but it's going to work great for a stain because it's got that nice brown color, and this is just an interior latex paint. So I'm going to take that, and we'll take whatever, I always use paper plates, it's just what I have handy all the time. So you'll just want to take some of this paint and put it onto your plate or whatever surface you want to create your stain on. And this color is just a little bit too light. I want it to, when we add it to the wood, it's going to dry a little bit lighter, so we want to make sure it's dark enough when we get started. And then I'm going to add black to this, and this is just acrylic, just your cheap Walmart acrylic paint. So I'm going to add a little bit of black to get it darker, and then I'm going to add a brown because I want to have it look a little bit more like a wood stain. So I'll add a little bit of the dark brown. Funny, the acrylic paints get that stuff that builds up around the top. Okay, so we took our main lighter brown color, added some dark, and then we're just going to add just water to it. Mix that up. It's a messy process, so if you need to put some sort of tarp down or plastic down before you get started. As you can see, that black and that brown didn't darken it a whole lot, so we're going to go ahead and keep adding darker. Try to get it mixed in good and make sure I'm not missing any of it, but it's just, there's another one of those acrylic buildups in the top of the paint can. Pull that out of it. And we're going to add a little bit more black to this to darken it a little bit. And then a little more of the brown. So we keep the look of the wood stain. And that's pretty close. Once we get that on the wood, that's going to look pretty close to a stain by the time it dries. Whoops. I'm making a mess. And it's just maybe a little bit too much like paint, and I still want to see the wood grain through it, so I'm going to add a little bit more water than that to it. So it's just a nice soupy consistency. That's what you're going for. If you guys can see that, I got it quite a bit darker there. And as you can see, when I put that on the wood, it's still way too dark. It's got way too much paint in it because you're not able to see the wood grain in it. So that's when you know it's not watery enough, and you just add a little bit more water to it. We really want it to have the look of a stain when we're done, so you can really see all the wood grain through it. Grab my other practice board. That actually is still just a little bit too dark, so I'm going to add even more water. we'll have quite the mess before we're done. I'd probably recommend doing it in smaller batches, and then just kind of remember about what you mixed it. It's, you know, it's wood, so it's all going to take just a little bit differently, so you don't have to be too particular, but that should be pretty close now. There we go. Now on that one you can see, you see the wood grain through it a whole lot better, and that's what we want. We're getting that nice stained look through it. So if it is still a little bit too dark and you want to see more wood grain, just wipe it off right away. There you go. That's how you get a wood stain look without using any paint. So we're going to go ahead and take all of our boards that we sanded and cut earlier, and I'm going to put this stain on that, and then I'll come back in a while and we'll go ahead and add the vinyl stencils to it. So we'll see you back here shortly.